What's up, you guys? Thank you so much for tuning in to my ATLien channel. I am Michelle ATLien Brown of Straight from the A.com, and I, for probably the first time ever, am going to review Married to Medicine. It is their 7th season, the first episode, and I am finally going to talk about it. Y'all can blame y'all squad members for this, but yeah, I just decided to go ahead and, share my little insight. I have written a few posts about it on the site here and there because, I had some personal insights about some things, but now, yeah, I thought I'd take a shot at it. But I digress. So, as you know, there's also, if you haven't also watched the episode, you can do so on straightfromtheA.com. The full episode is available for you to view over there in case you haven't seen it. And there's also a written recap. Now, let me go ahead and dive right in, child. First of all, I like to say, there's a lot of changes this season. Married to Medicine has come through. It seems like they've upped their budget. They got a lot of glossy background scenes, a lot of glossy what we call B-roll, which is scenes of Atlanta. And it's a pretty interesting visual. Now we finally get to see, what Married to Medicine Atlanta is all about. And it starts off with Jackie and Dr. Heavenly discussing, girl code violations on their podcast. I wonder if they was watching me. Y'all know we be talking about girl code violations over here. But again, I digress. But Dr. Jackie and Dr. Heavenly pretty much rehash everything that had been going on in previous seasons, which I am very, very grateful for because I didn't know because I didn't watch it. But again, what's the word? I digress. So, Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Jackie brought up the fact that Quad had, let me go back. Dr. Heavenly basically shaded Cecil back in the day. I guess on Twitter, they had a little Twitter beef. And so they discussed that. And Dr. Jackie asked Heavenly, is it okay to reveal a friend's secrets, and Dr. Heaven was like, no, never. And she was like, who you talking about? And Dr. Jackie was like, you. And she was like, how so? And Dr. Jackie, refreshes her memory. You remember that time when you tweeted Cecil about not having a job after, Dr. Simone had, confided in you. And Dr. Heavenly brought up a very good point. She was like, these men is in women's business, i.e. he struck first. So why couldn't I strike back? Was I supposed to wait? Well, obviously, I feel like maybe Dr. Heavenly should have let Daddy handle that for her. But, sometimes emotions get the best of us and we have to strike out and respond to some of these men. I understand, especially when they are acting bitch-like. But again, I digress. So, the tweets, they're still available if you feel like searching for them. But apparently, Cecil made a comment shading Dr. Heavenly's house, saying something about it needed to be pressure washed. Heavenly felt some kind of way and said, maybe we'll hire you to do it since you don't have a job. And I'm sure that stung like a bee. So, Heavenly has been known to, hit below the belt, and Dr. Simone on the other side of town was talking to Cecil about it as they were listening to the podcast and pretty much said, Heavenly's, when she's hurt, she goes down in the gutter, honey. She goes down in the gutter. As you know, a lot of people, they say those Florida people, that's what they do. They don't fight with their brains. They fight with, with their swords and their hearts, honey. They want to hit you where it hurts. They'll talk about your children and everything else. Meanwhile, Dr. Jackie also brings up the fact, she asked Heavenly if she thought that, Quad was right for bringing up the fact that Mariah did cocaine. And I say it that way because that's the way Dr. Jackie said it. She said it as if it was an absolute. Like, What about, Quad bringing up the fact that, Mariah did cocaine instead of saying something like Mariah allegedly did cocaine or Quad claims Mariah did cocaine? She said, how do you feel about Quad saying that Mariah did cocaine? That was pretty interesting in itself. Let's fast forward to when Heavenly and Quad discussed it, and Heavenly asked Quad those questions and said, would you ever take it back? Would you ever apologize for saying those things, for accusing Mariah of doing those things? And coincidentally, Quad stood firm on her word and basically said, no, I never will. I'm standing in the truth because I saw what I saw. Let me just say this. I'm not the person. Y'all know I'm not the person to keep no secrets of a former friend, okay? I will spill the tea. If I don't like you and I know we will never be friends again, I don't have any problems with it. So with that, I can possibly relate to Quad for once. But at the same time, they're on the same show. Mariah got her this gig. I feel like she does owe Mariah a little bit of, sympathy when it comes to something like that. Like putting that type of accusation out for the public, i.e. television viewing audience, whether it's true or not, that is some damaging allegations. Especially since Quad herself is known to hang around crackheads and dope heads and oh child. But y'all know who I'm talking about. I ain't even gotta say no names, Junkie.Neva. But yes, Quad has been known to basically befriend known crackheads and hang around them. And it's alleged that Quad, takes a little toot every now and then too. Look, I ain't seen it, I don't do it, but somebody who used to be a friend of mine basically told me that Quad was doing all that. And they also shared, again, I ain't one for keeping former friends secrets, right? They also shared that Quad didn't like men, and asked, since he is a member of the LGBTQIAX plus community, I just took his word as law. Like, what? Quad is a lesbian? Oh my God, no wonder she doesn't want to have kids with Dr. G. I see now. And this was many, many years ago that he told me this. But again, wait, I digress. So, I just would be remiss if I didn't throw that shade right there. But moving on. Okay. Dr. Heavenly felt it was a good idea for Quad to clean her vajayjay of, being with Dr. G, because she felt like she deserved a clean start, a clean vagina, so that she could give it away to whomever she pleased, man or woman. And so they visited a steaming vagina center. So she wanted to steam out all the toxins. I hope it worked, because Quad seems to be a toxic personality. Let me see what else we got. Girl code violations already. Okay. They talked about the girl code violations on the podcast. All of the couples seemed to be tuned in while they were discussing that. It seems like during the podcast, there was an actual girl code violation. I kind of touched on this earlier, but it seems that Mariah verbalizes that she feels that Dr. Jackie should not have said with absolute certainty that she did cocaine. And so she feels that Dr. Jackie was being passive aggressive and messy, as Dr. Jackie, I guess, is known to be. So Dr. Heavenly has a grand opening for her husband's surgical center, and she invites all the ladies, and it's the perfect time for them to discuss and hash out these differences. Mariah basically tells Dr. Jackie that she feels some kind of way about her bringing up those drug accusations, and she asked Dr. Jackie, why did you imply that it was a fact? When she's been adamant that those were lies. Mariah feels that Jackie was throwing slick shade her way and was being nice nasty as usual. And while Mariah feels that Dr. Jackie, Heavenly, and Quad are one and the same, messy, shady, and petty. Okay, messy, shady, and petty, as if they all don't bear some of those traits. Meanwhile, again, Quad stands by the accusation she made. Let's go back a minute. Remember, Mariah also made an accusation against Quad. She said that Quad had slept with her sister's husband. She had the receipts. She pulled out, well, I don't know if she pulled out, but a blog pulled out the police report showing that there had been an altercation between Quad and the sister allegedly had caught Quad in the bed with her husband naked from the waist down and had beat up Quad. And by the time the police got there, they was fighting and spitting in each other's face or whatever. Because there's proof, in the form of a police report, I can, kind of believe it, okay? But Mariah brings Lake, which is her sister, to this event, and Quad felt some kind of way. You could tell, Quad was a little bit heated. Like, after those accusations, you really gonna bring your sister around, those public accusations. A lot of people feel like Mariah was, lying about that, because after the alleged incident occurred, Mariah and Quad were friends. They ended up being on the show together. But my thing with that is sometimes, you have to work with someone you don't like for the greater good. So perhaps she thought, since Quad was married to a doctor, she'd go ahead and add her to this show, which she did, thinking Quad may be grateful. And, it is what it is. We all saw what happened with that. Quad got her ass on her shoulders and things turned left. Mariah felt that Quad should have been a bit more humble, and Quad felt like, you didn't give me this, I took it. There's disagreement. We all have our viewpoint of it. But again, they used to be friends and they're not anymore. Meanwhile, during Dr. Damon's explosive grand opening, there's a lot of things going on. You could tell there's a lot of tension in the air. When Cecil arrives with Dr. Simone, Heavenly barely speaks to him, which is an interesting situation. There's a lot of tension in the room. Again, Mariah isn't too excited to see Dr. Jackie. Cecil and Heavenly have their little awkward exchange. It's just, a lot. And you already know Toya and Contessa aren't really, cool either, since last year. Contessa, Toya hit Contessa in the breast, and Contessa felt that Toya did it on purpose. She actually hit her after her surgery, and apparently it ruptured something, or, it swole up or whatever. And she feels like it was on purpose. Everybody else says that it was clearly an accident. She tripped or she screamed when she saw a lizard, and she bounced back and she hit Contessa in the breast. I don't think it was on purpose. I think I saw that episode, and it is what it is. The two ladies just don't like each other. Apparently they have a vibe. Sometimes you have to roll with your discernment. If you don't like somebody for a particular reason, hey, you ain't gotta like them, right? Let me move on. Okay, all the ladies I noticed had already kind of formed separate groups, so you can see now their teams in the groups. Let me see. Lake and Contessa speak, but Quad remains silent. Jackie brings up the podcast, which sparks Mariah to confront her. Okay, we already went through that. Look, y'all see, I'm reading straight from the egg, which I wrote. Okay, in her confessional, Jackie says that she was just repeating what was already said about Mariah, so she didn't feel that there was anything wrong with her stating it on the podcast. But again, Mariah felt like she said it as if it was an absolute certainty. On the husband front, I thought it was interesting. Eugene was really all smiles. He said how proud he was of Dr. Damon for opening this surgical center, and he reminisces about the fact that when he first came to Atlanta, Dr. Damon was the first person to give him a job. That's something we didn't know. Like, at the end of the day, like, we had no clue. while the ladies were talking, Toya actually revealed that Dr. Damon helped pay for their wedding. And she said something about in cash. And I'm like, oh my God. It seems like Toya and Heavenly would be better friends than they are. I don't, again, this is my first, physical review of this show. So please bear with me if I don't know the history. I know y'all do. And so feel free to correct me down in the comments below if I'm missing out on something. Meanwhile, on the husband front, okay, I did that. Okay. Toya, in a discussion with the ladies, also revealed that Dr. Damon helped pay for their wedding. Okay, got that. Okay. Meanwhile, Dr. Heavenly and Simone hash it out about their prior beef. Simone says she felt so betrayed, so very betrayed when Heavenly took what she had said to her in confidence about Cecil, not having a job, and her frustration about that, took that to Twitter and, used that against Cecil in a tweet about him being unemployed. Heavenly says that it was bitch shit for Cecil anyway to be tweeting her in the first place. And that men should stay out of women's business. I kind of agree with that, but at the same time, this is a reality show, and all the men are in all the women's business. It is what it is. That being said, Contessa says that if husbands are going to do this, then they all should be called bitches. Which is interesting because then Mariah brings up the fact that Contessa's husband had actually, got up in Simone's face last season on a boat. And, she clashed with her. And Toya agrees and says that, it's funny because Toya decided to throw some shade at that point and said, oh, Eugene would never do that. Eugene would never, get in women's business like that. And said Eugene would never fight with bitches. That's what she said. And Contessa, because, it was a dig, said that, Eugene is the literal definition of bitch. He's the biggest bitch of them all. So I can kind of commend Toya for keeping her cool because, again, we already know she don't like Contessa. The fact that Contessa called her husband a bitch after, it's been proven that Contessa's husband, has been dipping his toe in the lady pond. Well, not literally because we know what that means, but he's been dipping his nose in women's business as well. It seemed kind of hypocritical for her to bring that up, but she did. But Toya keeps her cool and just decides to just leave, and increase the peace. So it seems like, it's going to be a very, very, very explosive season. One of the things that I don't like, I go ahead and say it because everybody know, I just don't see Quad. I just don't know why Quad is there. Everybody keeps saying she's she's keeping the divorce going so that she can have a reason to say that she's still technically married. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's a possibility. I've had my experiences with both Quad and Mariah. I don't have anything against Mariah. But Quad has rubbed me the wrong way several times, but I'll get in that as the season goes on, but I will definitely be talking about this show. So for those of you who watched it, please leave your comments down below about what you thought about this episode, about the premiere of episode 7. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, but definitely let me know what you think about all of these different teams and all of this explosive drama already in the first episode. Is it crazy? Oh my God, it's a mess. I'll see y'all later.